Hey friends, before the vlog, please log on to www.theamorlaüren.com and download all my latest music as well as see more exclusive content. And while you're there, hit my line at 610-463-1322. Enjoy the vlog. Ooh, yeah. It has taken me a very long time to do this particular video. I haven't been ready until now. So, here's my story. I've been parentless for about 2.5, 3 years now. I lost my dad in 98 and then lost my mom in 2019. I'm gonna do my best to not get emotional here. And life was just, when my father passed, I didn't really understand or, life then, but losing my mom at like 30 losing them both was just really hard on me, but I took it harder on my mother than I did my father. That happened when my father died first. I knew what was going on, but it didn't click in my head like, oh, you'll never see him ever again today. That didn't happen like that. It just happened gradually when I realized that, oh, he's really not coming back. And the way that I was treated from certain family members, my brother and I were treated after our father died, was horrible, and it still affected me until I would say maybe 2019 when my mom had passed and I had the opportunity to confront those family members that treated us horribly. When it comes to somebody grieving, figure out what type of person they are, whether they want to be called all the time, whether they want you to be there with them to help them through the process. Most people, when my mom had passed, didn't call post the funeral. Everybody calls during the hell week that I call it. Everyone's calling you. Everyone's trying to see what's going on. And I said see what's going on. Not necessarily help, but see what's going on. And then there's the hype of the service. And then after that, everybody goes home to their regularly scheduled programming. And then you, the person that is grieving, still has to deal with the fact that the person that you love, that you're grieving over, is no longer there. I had a huge issue with that and really called my family and some of my friends out on it, because it's like, what happens the days after that? What happens the weeks or the months after that? This void is not even getting filled. But y'all have not called, y'all haven't texted. Well, I thought you wanted to be by yourself. I just lost my mother. And you know I live alone. What makes you think I want to be by myself? So when somebody is grieving, be there for them as much as you possibly can. Call them. Check up on them. Ask them, have they eaten today? Have they had any water today? If they have a vice, have they smoked? Have they whatever? Ask them and totally be there for them. Now, don't just half-ass be there for them. I cannot stand people like that. Because death, I wouldn't wish death, especially the death of a parent, on my worst enemy. That like you come into this world with your parents. And it gives you a certain comfort level, knowing that no matter what happens, I may be able to always call my mom or always call my dad. When that feeling of comfort is gone, it is literally like you being born again to a certain extent, because you don't know how to live life without your mom. You don't know how to live life without your dad. So then that comes a whole different way of having to figure out what normalcy is after that. So when somebody is grieving, honestly and truly be there for them. Cause like it really got to a point where I had to call my family and was like, y'all have not called, y'all have not texted, y'all barely been by. I know everyone has lives, but y'all know I just lost my mom, my mother. It's different on this side. Or my father is different on this side. When my dad died, my father was a pastor. So everybody wanted to be around the pastor's kids, have them spend the night at their house, so on and so forth. All those wonderful things. The moment my dad died, there was nobody trying to watch us. There was nobody trying to make sure that we were fed or none of that. Our mom did that dolo by herself with the help of some of her friends. It was ugly out here. Ugly out here. I say a couple aunts on his side made sure we was cool, but that was about it. maybe a cousin or two. That was about it. But majority of them, everybody that was at church, nothing. Nada. Nothing. When my mom died, though, it was a different situation. I have godmothers that she literally has all made pacts with, and they all consistently call to this day. Look out for me to this day. Make sure that I am fed. Make sure that my emotions are in line. Make sure that I am healing. It's a difference. So I like to say this. When somebody is grieving, honestly and truly be there for them. Now, the funeral. When you do the funeral, am I out of focus here? When you do the funeral, right? The funeral is supposed to be a celebration of life. When my mom had passed, there were so many people in that church and so many people that I did not know who the hell they were. Please stop doing that. If when somebody passes, if you did not really F with them like that, do not show up at their service. Do you just want to get some confirmation that they died? Like, what are you there for? Tell me. Because it doesn't make any sense. Like, that's trauma. That doesn't, and you already know that family is grieving. That's doing too much. And when you do go to a service, make sure that what you're doing is about that person. Not you doing it for you. Not you're speaking about that person on the pulpit or however the service may go. Not you speaking that just because you just want to be seen and you want to have some comfort in your spirit. Know that you said some kind words. No. Genuinely. Say your piece and keep it moving. Is it about them or is it about you? Please make sure it's about them. Because if it's about you, everybody's going to be able to see that. And I'm telling you right now, when it came to my mom and her service, I was not with none of that shit. None of it. I was catching it at every... No, baby, you were not around. We don't... No. That wasn't really... Y'all did not really have that bond, sweetheart. No. Make sure it's about that person that we are all there to celebrate the life for, and not you doing something because it makes you feel good. It ain't about you, sis. It ain't about you, bro. Anyway, so after the service is over, you know what I'm saying? And keep in mind, this is what people have life insurance policies for. If you don't have one, get one. Because somebody grieving and then having the stress of trying to figure out how to pay for your funeral, that's real ugly. And that brings on a whole nother heap of emotions and trauma and a whole bunch of extra stuff that personally I don't feel like anybody should be dealing with in the process of grieving. That's crazy to me. By the grace of God, my mom paid for her own service. So my brother and I did not have to figure things out. We just had to do what needed to be done. Period. So if you want to make sure that your kids or your legacy does not have to figure it out or had that headache, make sure you have a life insurance policy. I had some bread stacked up somewhere because funerals, dying is expensive. Make no mistake about it. Dying is expensive. Caskets cost money up in the thousands. Getting buried costs money. The funeral costs money. The church that you're about to have it at, that costs money. All of the outfit, that person, listen, all of that costs money. Please make sure you have some money set aside so nobody has to figure it out or have no fish fries trying to figure out how to pay for your service. That's on period. By the grace of God, like, we didn't have to deal with that. But it is a lot of work having to bury somebody, having to find the cemetery they're going to be buried at. What they're going to be buried in, whether it's a casket, are they getting cremated, are they going to be in a mausoleum? All this costs money. The church, the food, I think it's called the repast. The food there, that costs money. Like, all that costs money. So please have some bread saved up. Not to mention, when a person does pass, I think it was like an old school ritual to bring food to the person's house, the person who's grieving house. And that happened in a way, but I feel like my generation has kind of just stopped doing that. Please go back to doing that, please, and thank you. Now moving on. Now, people that are grieving, understand there are, like, I think 5 different stages of grieving. So, like, one is denial. When my mom had passed and when my dad had passed, I was definitely in denial. I was like, they didn't die. This is, you know what I'm saying? It was crazy because prior to, my mom used to go to a lot of funerals because she wanted to be a mortician. And a lot of people, unfortunately, were passing in our space. It's different when you see different, because I've gone to more funerals than I wanted to go to. It's different when you It's different when you walk in the funeral home or you walk into that service and the person you see in that casket is your mom. That's, whoo, I'm cool. That's different. That's different. And then the funeral home be playing with sad, so like the funeral home was playing this sad ass music, and it's just like, my mom did not want us to cry at her in the event that something had happened to her, and it was like, how could we not? But I'm telling you, people at the service don't make it no easy. But that's neither here nor there. I actually was surprised that my brother and I kept it together the way that we kept it together at that service. Mom would have been hella proud. And when I was speaking for the, when everybody from her life had spoke, everybody that was in a major part of her life, whether it was her job, the choir that she sang in, and then the kids spoke, and my goal was to make sure that somebody left laughing, because my mom always loved to make people laugh, even at funerals. Like, she was that hilarious. But back to what I was saying, the denial. I was definitely in denial when they passed. More so my mom than anything, because it was like, I talked to my mom every day. Like, that was an everyday thing. My mom was my friend that just so happened to be my parent. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that was my homie. That was, you know what I'm saying? So one day you just get up and it's like the person you love the most, that loves you more than life itself, that have known you more than you known yourself, you will never see, hear, hug, touch, or talk to for the rest of your life. That is difficult to swallow at a moment's notice. My mom had cancer, unfortunately. So they gave her, I guess, a year. Well, actually, the hospital told her she wasn't going to die. Big mistake. They lied like hell. But when she did pass, it was sudden. It was nothing like we were sitting there looking like, oh, it's going to happen today. It's going to happen this week. I don't care how much therapy you do. Nothing will prepare you for that moment. So I was like, no, she's not dead. Yes, she is. Like, it got to a point, like, it was always a whole bunch of back and forth. So denial is one thing that people that's going through grief or wind up having to deal with. Another one is anger. Now, this one, I can definitely say I was. I was angry the moment she took her last breath. I was livid. I was angry at God. I was angry at people. I was angry at everything, to the point where I was punching walls in the hospital. Like, I was going through it, because it was just like, my mom, like, and it's still a whole bunch of people that do the most outrageous shit on earth. Like, you took my mom, though? Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. So I was very angry. Like, I really was around here, like, and then it was just, woo! It was a lot of anger going around. Like, I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to do nothing. Like, I was just pissed. I was livid. I couldn't sleep that night. Like, I woke up like 5, 6, 7, 8 times out of my sleep that night, because it just, like, the house felt weird. Then I went to my brother's house, and then that felt weird. And then I was dating somebody at the time that did not comfort me in no way, shape, or form. He did not fly to make sure he was at the service. He barely called me after the fact. So I had to deal with this a lot on my own. Like, my brother has his wife. My brother has his kids. When he was going through it, his wife was there to comfort him. I, on the other hand, did not. So I was very, very angry. Then there's bargaining. So was going down the wrong path, right? So you got denial, you have denial, you have anger, and then bargaining. That's a whole bunch of, well, God, if you heal this person, I'll do X, Y, Z, and the third. My mom was already gone, and I was already down the wrong path. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I ended up finding myself in jail. I'm not getting into that story. Just know I was there, and I was there long enough to know that I did not want to go back. But it was like, when I was in my cell, it's like, first of all, when you in your cell and you stretch your arms out, like, you go in your closet, cut the door off. Like, go in your closet and cut the lights off and sit there. That's what being in jail feels like. Now, keep in mind, somebody's controlling how you eat. When you wash your behind, you don't even have your own drawers on in there. You literally want to just not be there. You start to think about hanging yourself, getting up out of it. Like, you just don't want to experience that. So it was a lot of like, oh God, if you do X, Y, Z, like, I've always had a relationship with God. So it wasn't like I just started praying. It was like, God, all right. Because I've been going back and forth with doing what I felt like I was sent here to do. And when I got in jail, it was like everything was just cut off from me. And it was like, this is all I got right now. And the moment I said, I'm not going to fight you on it, I'm just going to do whatever it is. I'm going to be that vessel that you want me to be. Hence why I'm doing this video. I was released, I would say maybe a half an hour later, and haven't been back since then. My case is closed by the grace of God. Woo! But it was a lot going on. So you got denial, anger, bargaining, depression. I was here for a minute. I was smoking a lot of weed. I was drinking. Like, I bought a zip of weed. I don't even smoke weed like that. I'm gonna keep it a yard with y'all. I do not blow down like that. But when my mom had died, I was hitting a blunt often. If I wasn't going to get the weed myself, I had somebody else go and get the weed for me. Me buying a whole zip for myself, like, I knew I was going through it. My mom had a whole like cabinet of a whole bunch of liquor, and it was full the day I got there, because I flew from Atlanta to Philly when I got the call. It was full when I got there. After the service, I drank probably 75%, if not 85, probably 90% of that. And that was a very large cabinet of alcohol. Very large cabinet. I drank it all. I didn't, because when you are going through, when you grieving like that, you don't want to feel that hurt. You don't want to feel that pain, because it's nothing you can do about it. It's nothing you can do about it. I didn't want to feel that, so I smoked, I drank, I didn't go out. And when I did go out, I drank some more and drank some more. And I would always have these random outbursts of just crying where I couldn't control my tears. One day I showed up at my brother's house and scared the hell out of my nephews and my niece. I literally just walked in the door and collapsed in there crying my eyes out. Because I still do that to this day, because you'll never heal from that. You can only cope. You can only cope. So my depression is not as much because I've been doing the work. I went to group therapy. I've had a therapist. I've counseling, the whole shit and shebang. I talk a lot, but I talk a lot more about the happy moments I had with my mom and what I learned from it, and look at videos and stuff like that. And now I have somebody that I'm with that allows me to have those moments, and they are really there for me. The person I was with when my mom initially had passed wasn't there. The person that I'm with now, by the grace of God, I love them to life, because when I have those outbursts, they don't look at me like I'm crazy. They just comfort me and let me know it's okay. My godmom said, I don't care if it's an hour from now, a day from now, a week from now, 20 years from now, you have a right to grieve. That was your mother. You have a right to grieve. So I take those moments, whether it's her birthday, whether it's just a random day, whether I just hear the word mom several times, I have those moments. So when you are seeing somebody that's going through that, allow them to have those moments. I'm actually at the last stage, I think, of grief, which is acceptance. Like, I've realized that my mom is gone in this realm. And my dad, I realized that they're gone in this realm. But they'll never, ever, ever, ever be a day where you don't see me and you don't see them. So that's my story. Don't forget to like and subscribe this, and I hope this helped somebody, whether somebody is grieving or whether you have a friend that is grieving. I'll see y'all later. Peace.
Ooh, yeah.